everybody. Picked up another wing. This one's a Niviuk Kougar 3 and a 23 meter. I went ahead and grabbed this up because I wanted more of a dedicated cross-country wing that flew fast, but yet I didn't want to be burning a lot of RPMs, doing my cross countries. So I looked into the aspects of this wing, and I talked with Kevin at iFly PPG Indiana, and went ahead and placed an order with him, and he's a dealer for Niviuk products along with the APCO products too. Real nice guy to work with. So I picked up this wing and I went with the 23 meter. I could have went with a 20, but I thought, well, if I do it the 23, I'm still in the upper end of the range on it. On this wing, it's like 80 to 175, so it's like a gargantuan range on this wing. But I'm putting together another paramotor with the 17 liter tank on it, and I figured, well, with the extra weight, to give me still a reasonable amount of RPMs, so I'm not just gobbling a lot of fuel traveling fast. But I wanted a fast wing with just trims out, so I didn't want to have to be on speed bar the whole time. I just wanted to be able to set trims out and just cruise along and still be moving along at a pretty good pace. So in this video, what I'm doing is just running back and forth up and down the field, upwind and downwind. And right now I've got trims all the way out to the last line, but I still had like 1.5 inches. I could have let out even more, but I just wanted to see what this would do. This is just a preliminary video. It's only like my third flight on this wing. As far as the wing goes, it takes off nice, nothing weird, which I was kind of concerned with because I've got a Niviuk Cubic and it flies really well, but this is being a more advanced wing. I have no idea what to expect. Takeoff, was like uneventful, and it don't sway back and forth. There's no wobble to it. It just sits up there and just you can go hands off with nothing to it. It's got the 2D tied in, so that was something new for me to get used to. It's pretty intuitive. It doesn't really take that much to get used to that. The nice thing with this wing is with your trims all the way out, you can still use full brakes, so you don't have to worry about it. I got to use tip steering all. It flew great. I didn't have any issues with it. It likes to fly, so one thing I did notice is when I turn hard in some of the other wings I've had, where you really dump some altitude as you're doing your turns, this one pretty much stays up there. You got to kind of work at bringing it down. And it was cruising. If you look at the GPS overlays on here, it's doing downwind, I'm doing like 40 mile an hour roughly, and going upwind, I'm doing roughly 30. So you figure the average of the twos. Trims out, set out to that last white line. So I figure if I went all the way out with it, I might gain another mile an hour, maybe 2 at the most. But then if I was flying obviously the 20 meter, then I could probably pick up another mile an hour or maybe 2 of that. So that's something to think about if somebody's looking into this. I'm 130 kilos all the way up, so you can use that as a guide to what would be a good range for yourself. I didn't have anything weird about the thing. It really was a joy to fly. There's a lot of bad press on people trying to go to full speed bar, but I don't fly with a speed bar anyway. I might throw one on and try it just to see what it'll do, but I'm not going to be, I'm not 6'4", so I'm not going to be able to shove it all the way out and probably have issues like others have had with. I think that was mostly on the smallest size wing anyway, and I think there's been changes done to the risers, but as far as the way it flies, it's a really nice wing and had no issues at all. Coming in for landing was another thing that I kind of worry about, being I'm not 20 years old no more, that I was wanted something that I had come in like a rocket and have to deal with that running out of it. This thing stores up energy real nice. And so I was able to just come in and just, normal flare and set it down, and it wasn't much to it. This is Huron, Illinois, where I'm flying at Gateway Air Park, and we get a lot of, when you're in 90-degree plus weather, high humidity, the sink rate as it gets evening time, you're coming in and sinking air, and sometimes, man, you just drop like a rock. So that was a concern for me. I didn't want to go to something too small for myself, and have the challenge of having a fast, landings, especially if I was loaded, with extra fuel. With trim set to the first white line, I was throwing about 52 to 5300 RPM, and then once I set it all the way out to the last white line, it was somewhere around 58 to 5900 RPM, and then that's trying to hold level. Now, I didn't have anything on me that I was gauging it. I was kind of just going by the sound inside. See, the overlay was done after the fact, but it seemed like it's just under 6,000 RPM with trim set all the way out to the last white line. So that was cruising at 35 mile an hour. So I thought that was, pretty good compared to the other wings that I've flown in the past or owned in the past. So hopefully this helps. But another thing I was gonna go ahead and throw out here is just the cameras that I was using. So I use a Insta360 1R with the 1-inch sensor for my helmet cam, and I had it running in 4K, and an hour of 4K is like no fun to try to download and mess with. So I'll probably just go back to 1080p on that. And then the cage one I had mounted to the cage was a Insta360 1R, but it was the 360 version of it. And then I had a field camera that was the Insta360 1X2. And anyway, the cameras are fantastic, and the image stabilization and that 360 that was mounted to my cage, that thing's like shaking like crazy. So the little bit that I could get out of that, it still was pretty decent footage. And I had it mounted at a lower point on the cage, and it didn't have any wobble to it in one of my other videos I did. So anyway, just something I add to this video was just the cameras that are used. It's a little more than just talking about the wings. I used to use the Sony X3000s. They had excellent color science to them, and no issues. They were like simple as could be to use. The only thing is like they were not good for doing the overlays. So when you do the GPS, even though they had GPS built into them, they had their own software for the overlays, and they were very limited to what you could put on there. I use a external software now that's called telemetry overlay, and that one you can incorporate all kinds of different cameras and pull out the GPS information. They've got a selection of different overlays that you can do with it. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to somebody, and thanks for watching.